What up, everyone? As usual, I haven't seen any of you in a while, and as usual, I'm always stricken with some kind of downtrodden disease. Lately, I've had another back injury. I got sick again. Then I also damaged my vocal cords, as you can hear, so I couldn't speak for a while because I wanted to do a lot of different things, like review of the Deadpool movie, monthly review. There's a lot of videos I wanted to do recently, but as always, something keeps me from doing it. But this is one I really wanted to do because it's important time-wise, and that is the review and also the box layout of the Deadpool Mystery Minis. So I bought actually 6 cases of this series to try and get you as much information as possible to help you find what characters you need, and we'll also review it very quickly and talk about that too. And apparently Pup's here as well. Thank you. Good boy. Pup loves Deadpool. It's his favorite. So yeah. First of all, I'll show you this really quickly to give you an idea what we have here. Here's the layout. That is all the information I have from 6 cases. So to sum up my general thoughts and feelings about this series, overall feeling is pissed. Pissed off, annoyed, irritated in so many ways. I've never been so irritated by one series. And as you can see by that chart, I have practically no information on this. I would love to just show you a picture of the box layout so you don't have to watch the rest of the video. So you can just look at that picture and say, oh, there's the figure I want. I don't have to listen to this guy talk anymore. I wish it was that simple this time, but it's not. And I'll explain why. And the reason I'm so irritated about this series is because they've made it nearly impossible to collect. And on top of it, they didn't do that great of a job on the series, and we'll talk about that as well. So like I said, I got 6 cases of this series, which is the most cases I think I've ever bought for an individual series in my entire life. But I was able to do that because I got them at a really good price. So for those of you who've known me for a while, you know I work like 10,000 different jobs. So I picked up a couple more, because why not? One of them being Hot Topic. I just randomly picked up a job there so I could take advantage of the discount. I work like an hour every 2 weeks just so I can use their discount. It's pretty awesome too. They got a sweet discount. So that's why I was able to get so many cases, because I get a really good discount there, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And also I had gift cards there, so it wasn't that big of a deal either. But still, I was very irritated because I had to, each store only got 1 box and I had to drive all over the goddamn place getting these cases, and each case had like the exact same thing. And on top of that, there was almost no consistency in the box layout, which irritated me even more. So even when I found a new box, I couldn't find the figures I wanted because things weren't in the right place. And now on top of that, something that's been ruining the mystery box series is these super common figures. And what I mean by that, most of these series that have come out lately, all the figures are 1 in 12. Which means if you buy a case of 12, you get 1 of each figure, you get the whole set. Therefore, they're all common. When they do statistics, they'll add commons, and then they do rare, which is 1 of 24, and then, 1 of 24, and then like a super rare, which is 1 of 72. And every once in a while, they used to do ultra rare, which was 1 of 44, but they stopped doing that. Now, since then, they've added super commons, which is 1 of 6, meaning there are 2 of that specific figure in every case of 12, which is annoying. It's annoying that they do that because they're screwing themselves. Because people like me, most collectors out there, want to collect the whole series, so they'll just... Pup wants the whole man. So they'll just buy a full case to help collect the series. But putting these super common figures, these 1 of 6 figures in there, deters people from buying full cases because they don't want duplicates. Because this isn't back in the 90s where we're buying trading cards where it didn't matter if you got a bunch of duplicates because they were just trading cards and you can put them wherever, you could toss them out, it wasn't that big a deal. When you get duplicates of like big figures like this, it's tough because you don't have somewhere to store these things and they're hard to sell when they're that common. So it deters people from buying these full cases, and it also deters people from buying the last few figures in a box. And I'll give you an example. Say a store has a case of these and people are buying them 1 at a time and not the full case. If someone gets to that box and there's like 2 or 3 left, people probably won't buy those last 2 or 3 because it's assumed that those are the super common figures that nobody wants because they're that common and they're practically worthless. So that keeps that store from selling those last 3 figures, so therefore they won't restock it with the new case because they didn't sell out of the last case. And the stores look at these statistics and say, well, we didn't sell out of this case, so why would we restock it? But the reality is they should be doing that because people will either want the full case or nothing at all because they're too worried about getting these super common ones. So companies like Funko screw people out of it because no one's buying them because they're such common ones. And the ironic part about it is Funko isn't losing any money because when they sell these cases to companies, they already make their money. So whether companies like Target, GameStop, Hot Topic that get these exclusives, whether they sell the figures or not, it doesn't matter to Funko. They've already made their money because Funko is the wholesaler and these other companies are the distributors. So it doesn't matter to Funko if these companies don't sell. It just kind of screws everyone. It's a shitty move. And the worst part about it is they really didn't need to make these super common figures here. They did it. They started doing it like 2 years ago with the science fiction series. They did these 1 of 6 figures, but they only did 1 of them, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And the reason they did it is because it was a small series and they didn't have enough figures to fill out a full case, so it was understandable. But this one had 3 separate sets of exclusives, Target, GameStop, and Hot Topic, and they had super common ones, which is not really fair. They should have just not done exclusives or not done as many store exclusives and not put the super common ones. And the worst part about this all is there's not just 1 super common figure or 2 or 3, but 4. There are 4 super common figures in each box. That means there are 4 sets of duplicates for every case of 12. So if you buy a case of 12, you automatically get 4 duplicates in there. Therefore, 2/3 of your case is already those super common figures, which is really shitty too, which again will deter even the hardcore collectors from buying full cases because it just seems like a waste. So they really screwed themselves out of the series, so I think that was a really bad business move and it's going to really displease all the fans. So that's just the beginning of my displeasure towards this series. And the funny thing is, the commons, there are only 2 commons in this series. 1 of 12, there are only 2. So if you buy a case, you only get 2 common figures, 8 ultra or super common figures, and then possibly 2 rares, which is really shitty. So again, normally in a case of 12, like we've always seen with the horror and the sci-fi and pretty much any series that does rarity, you'll see that there are usually like 8 or 9 common figures, and then you get the chance for 3 rare or super rares. There's usually 1 or 2 that are 1 of 24, and the third is a variable, which is either 1 of 36 or 1 of 72. This set, you can't do that. You only get the chance for 2 rares. Because there are so many of those super common figures, there are only 2 spots for rares. So you get 1, that's 1 of 24, and 1 variable. So even if you buy a case, you only get 2 chances to get rare figures, which makes the series even harder to collect. So yeah, there's the story there. So, now we'll talk a little bit about the layout. Why this is so shitty. So I've gotten 2 different kinds. I've gotten the Hot Topic exclusives, which I got a bunch of those cases. Then I got 1 of the GameStop. I haven't seen this just common case anywhere yet. I haven't seen them out anywhere. And I also haven't seen the Target one. So if I happen to, I don't think I'm going to buy a full case anymore because fuck that. But if I happen to figure out where the figures are in there, I'll update it on social media, which I always do. I do updates on there. If you're not following me on social media, please do to get those updates. What are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to lay down? Are you good? Okay. So I'll try to update it on social media if I happen to figure it out. But what I do have is from Hot Topic and GameStop. And you'd think, since I got like 5 cases from Hot Topic, I have the most information on that, but I have the least information on that, which is really shitty. So the weirdest part about it, the very first case I got only had 1 of the common. It should have 2. The 1 of 12s, which is the Disco Deadpool and the Waitress Deadpool. Those are the ones that are 1 of 12. It should have had both of those, 1 of each. It only had 1 of them. So that first case was already really weird in the fact that it only had 1 common, and then it had, I think, an additional super common. Which your first instinct would be like, well, maybe someone already messed with that case or traded it out. And no, that's not possible because it's the store I work at. They only got 1 case in, and it was still sealed in the cardboard like shipping container. So I know no one messed with it. This was just a mistake on Funko's part because they're just getting lazy. They really phoned in this series. They really didn't do a good job, and they really didn't take care of it, and they're really like showing disrespect for their true fan base, which is really not fair to anyone. So yeah, it only had 1 of those. So that first box I already knew I shouldn't pay attention to where the figures are because something was already off about it. There was a mistake. So I didn't. So I went to the next case and they showed more consistency. And do you want to get down? Do you want to get down? Okay. Can you sit down at least? Thank you. So the most I could gather around it was that there are going to be 2 rares on the top in the center. So if you're facing the case, if it's facing you, front, back, top, bottom. The most I could deduce from it is that most likely, this hasn't been every time, so I can't guarantee it, but what I saw most often was that there were 2 rares, top and center. So again, not every time, but those were was. And then the 2 commons are supposed to be right there. So that's about as most as I can get. The other ones I didn't actually bother to fill in because 1, they were so inconsistent it didn't make sense to even try and make a guess. 2, they're the ultra common ones, so I don't think anyone really cares where the layout is of those anyway. I don't think anyone's going in there to buy the ultra commons because I'll tell you what, if you actually do want a specific ultra common one or super common one, if you're looking for one of those specific figures, just go buy it online. Yeah, you can buy them on there for like $1 or $2. Because like I said, it's so flooded, the market's so flooded with these super common figures because if someone buys a full case, you already have 4 duplicates. There's just 10 million of them on eBay. Go buy one off there. I guarantee you can get one for like $3 or less, including shipping. So don't even bother looking for them in an actual store because it's actually cheaper online. So that's why I didn't bother to fill the rest in there. But the exclusives are ones that people are going to care about, and the most information I can give you is this bottom 4 here. So bottom row, towards the front, these 4. And I can't be more specific than that because they were never more specific than that. Are you getting down? Either get down or sit down. Like, you're going to hold my hand. Okay. Make a decision. So, starting off with the Hot Topic ones. The first box I got. So there was 2... the Hot Topic exclusives, each one has a super common one of 6 that is an exclusive, and for Hot Topic it was the Archer Deadpool, like the Robin Hood one. The first box had one here and here. The next box had one here and here. And the last box had one here and here. And then there was one where I got past that and it was like 2 completely random spots that weren't even in that area. So that's the most I can get. So most of the time they were somewhere in these 4. And the same thing with the GameStop ones. GameStop ones were here and here. So that would be my best guess as to where the exclusives are going to be. I would say just below the rares because that's where they've appeared most often. And not even often, just more often than not, but most likely they're in this bottom 4. But if I had to guess, I would say middle, bottom row if I had to guess for those 2. So just down there somewhere. Oh my gosh, you're driving me crazy. Just get down. Just get down if you want to get down. Just go. Just go. Kid. Now you don't. Oh my gosh. Drive me crazy today. So like I was saying, the GameStop ones were these 2 spots here, and one time the Hot Topic, they were these 2 spots here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the Hot Topic ones that are completely inconsistent. So like I said, if I had to guess for the common store exclusives, I would guess right below the rares. That would make the most sense. That would be the best guess. But again, I cannot guarantee that because like I said, 6 crates all in different spots. So super annoying. I really hated it. So the other thing that was annoying was that I bought the first like 4 or 5 cases that I bought from Hot Topic. I got no rare Hot Topic exclusives. So all this store exclusives are the same. One of them is a super common, one of them is one of 24, and one of them is one of 72. I haven't seen what the Target ones are, but the common ones for Hot Topic and GameStop are the Archer and the Clown. The one of 24 are from Hot Topic, it's the Unicorn Head Knight, and from GameStop it's the Cheerleader, and the one of 72 from Hot Topic it's the Samurai, and from GameStop it's the Wizard. So I'm assuming it's the same for Target, that one of them is going to be common, one of them is going to be rare, one of them is going to be super rare. But that's just my assumption, but I'm pretty sure that's what it'll be. So the first 4 or 5 cases that I bought from Hot Topic, no rares from Hot Topic. And again, that's what I think is shitty. If they're going to make store exclusives and they're going to make them rare, take out the other rares. So you're not going to the store exclusive one and getting the rare ones from the common series. That just makes it annoying because you usually pay more for these store ones and then you don't even get the exclusives anyway. I think that's really shitty that they do that, which made it even more difficult to collect. I think they should have taken out the other one of 24 and 72 and replaced it with these, but they didn't. so I didn't get any store exclusives, so that was extremely frustrating, driving all over the county, and I got pretty much the same figures in every single box. That one that's the workout Deadpool with the weights, I got in every single case. Every single case, I got that same fucking figure. I just, statistically speaking, I can't imagine how that is. So it may just be bad luck on my part, but maybe some of you have noticed as well, there's like no consistency, and some of the figures are showing up a lot more often than they should be, which doesn't make any sense. So I actually bought one final case from Untitled, which I shouldn't have. I was already saying it was a stupid idea, but I'm glad I did because I got really lucky with that one, because that one had both of the exclusives. That one had the 1 of 72 and 1 of 24 from the Hot Topic exclusives, but here's the weird thing. They were on the bottom. All the other cases had rares right here, except this one that had the Hot Topic exclusive rares, had the Knight, and then had the Samurai, 24 and 72 on the bottom. And then the super commons were in some other weird spot. So I would say, you know, maybe this is Funko trying to mix it up and trying not to make things all the same, but I highly doubt it. I don't think Funko would put that much effort into it. I really don't think they care that much. I think this was just laziness on their part. I think there was something wrong in the factory that totally screwed it up, because none of this made any sense. So I'm glad, at least with all my effort, that I got some of the rare ones. But the GameStop one I got, same thing. Didn't get any of the rare GameStop exclusives. Got the same figures as I did in all the other cases. But yeah, most of the time the rares were there and the commons were there. So I apologize for not being able to give you more information, but I really tried. I really did. With 6 cases, you gotta believe, I tried as hard as I could. And I did the math, I did the statistics, I did the cross-referencing, everything. And this is the most amount of information I can get. But I think this should help you at least a little bit, because I think this is all people care about. I don't think people are going to care about the super common ones that are found everywhere. I think everyone's just going to want one of each of the commons, and then shoot for the rares in the top middle. And if you want the exclusives, take your best guess with this middle row, and maybe open them in the store if you're there. And if they're not these two, then they're probably going to be these two. Again, I wish I could say guaranteed, but I can't guarantee that. But if anyone else out there is watching the video and is has any information on this, please jump in and try and give more statistics here. So if someone else is finding these in the same spots and finding this exclusives right here, please say so. And if you're finding them in completely different spots, please say so as well, because we're all here as a community, and we're all here trying to help each other. So please try to give as much information as you can, and let's all try to help each other out. But that's the most information I have from that. So we'll see if I manage to get my hands on any of the cases from Target. I'll pick out a few and see if it's consistent. But I'm pretty sure the rares, because between the Hot Topic exclusive box and the GameStop, the rares were in the same spot. So maybe that gives me some hope, but I just don't know. And the funny thing is, I kind of want to search through the box just to make sure that there's not a super rare or something like that in a random spot. But at the same time, I don't, because when I buy a case, I try to keep as many sealed as possible, because either maybe I can return them if the store has a good policy, or I can resell them as sealed cases or something like that. But I don't want to open them all, because it's hard to sell them that way and hard to do something with them. So I tried my best that way, but you know, whatever. So I ended up spending a lot of money and wasting a lot of time, and again, mostly just frustration with the series. So let's talk about the actual review portion of this. Let's talk about the series itself. So when I saw the series originally, I wasn't super psyched on it just based on the design, but I just really like it because I'm just a huge fan of Deadpool. He's like one of, if not my favorite Marvel character, if not one of my favorite characters of all time. He's just one of my favorite. I've always loved him. So I was going to collect the series based on that, based on my love for the character and not the love for this specific style and series. And when I saw the series originally, I just assumed that it was going to be 1 of 12, because the picture that Funko put out had 12 figures and the exclusives were 3 each. So I just assumed, common sense would say, that this is a 1 of 12 series, and they didn't look like they put that much effort into it, so I just figured that. Usually when they put a lot of effort into a series, like design and quality, that's when they'll do statistics, and the ones that look a little bit crappier and cheaply done, kind of like this one, those are the ones that are usually 1 of 12. Like most of the Disney ones, like a lot of those are 1 of 12 because they just don't look that great, and the ones that look like this, that have the big heads that look like bobbleheads even when they're not, almost always 1 of 12. So yeah, the ones that they put some effort and design into, like the Warner Brothers ones, they had some actual design to them. Those had statistics and stuff like that. So usually you can decipher, so that's what I thought it was, but it wasn't. And they definitely cheaped out on the series. And No one should be surprised by this, but they're bobbleheads, as are all the Marvel and Star Wars ones, which I'm still disappointed by when I see that. I hate the small. I don't think anyone likes bobbleheads, by the way. I think that's just a unanimous decision that nobody really loves bobbleheads. I think everyone would just like them regular versus bobbleheads. I think that's a common thing. And so I'm always disappointed when they are, just because they look very cheaply made. The design, the way they have to do them just looks very cheap. And half the time, their heads come like bent off in some weird direction that is just really difficult to fix. The good news about this is that many series in the past, the heads are turned a weird way and it's hard to fix them, but they actually design them so you can actually twist the heads on more. So they design them well enough so you can twist the head on and fix that. The only problem with that is you can only twist it one direction. So if you can twist it to face forward, but if you go too far, you can't go back. And you can actually twist it down to make the head closer to the shoulders. So I'm glad they actually designed it a little better that way, so you can fix the whole head issue thing. But again, it's just, you know, it's better than nothing, but still not great. And the design on these wasn't great either. So the first score we'll give is the concept and design on them, and that I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. Because I really like the idea of a lot of these, because they really capture the idea of Deadpool. Like, he's a really funny character, and you always see him wearing a bunch of costumes, and that's definitely what this series is. Doing a bunch of goofy shit. Like, one of my favorite ones was the Hot Topic exclusive where he's a knight, and he's cut off a unicorn's head, and the unicorn's like bleeding rainbows. Like, that's funny. That's the exact kind of thing you would expect from Deadpool. Something that's like really cute and funny, but at the same time like violent and disgusting. Like, that's the essence of Deadpool. That's what we want to see. So I like that. But the reason it only gets a 5 out of 10 because I don't like the design of the figures. So I like the idea they had in mind, but I don't like the way they design them because they're just very cheaply done, because they're the bobbleheads again, because they have to. All the Marvel and Star Wars ones have to be bobbleheads. They always have been. But I keep hoping, since Disney owns the rights to them, that maybe they can somehow work around it, but they still haven't to this day because Kenner still owns the rights. You know, whole long story. I've explained it before. I'm not going to get into it. So yeah, so just so all you know, any Star Wars and Marvels figures, all the mystery minis have to be bobbleheads. So that's part of the reason why they have to be this goofy look, but I really wish they could have put some more thought and design into it. Because the recent series they've done were so awesome. Like the Warner Brothers one and the Nickelodeon ones. That was probably one of my favorite mystery mini sets they've done in years. They did such a good job with original designs and sculpts on them and paint jobs. They did a fantastic job on those. They really did a good job, and I was extremely pleased with them. So I wish they would have done something similar with the Deadpool. You know, they couldn't make all of them too different because it's all the same character, but still, they could have just done so much more design-wise instead of this, like, cheapy look. And I get it that they had to be bobbleheads, but there's so much more they could have done, and I wish they just could have put any more, like, quality into it. So that's why I was just disappointed that these are so hard to collect, because they didn't do that well on the quality. Next score we're going to give is the paint job, and that's only going to get a 4 out of 10, because there's really not much paint at all in this series. Mostly everything is just the colored plastic and not any paint. All the mouth and eye designs is all the stickers where they just like kind of stick them on, and it's not paint at all. It's just the colored plastic. There is some paint to some of these figures, but minimal at best. They kind of use like very few colors in there, and even the colors they did use, they didn't do a good job painting on them. They didn't stay in the lines, and they just didn't do a good job overall. So that was kind of disappointing too. Not that big a deal. It wasn't horrible or anything, but they just could have put more quality into that too. And the last one is the sculpt. And that's only going to get a 5 out of 10 because Sculpt wasn't that great either. The sculpts on these were very simplistic. All of them, they had like very round shaped heads, and there wasn't a lot of detail or sculpting detail into all the figures. There was some, but not much. It just could have been way better overall. So overall, this series is only going to get a 4.5 out of 10. So like I said, the only reason I collected it wasn't because I was super impressed with the design of them. It's just because I'm such a big fan of Deadpool. I just thought some of the ideas behind them were just really funny. Like I said, the unicorn one, I'm glad I got that figure because it would have cost a shitload online. So I just like the idea of them, but they're not done really well. And also, speaking of the sculpt, sorry to go back on that, but some of these figures are just not well balanced at all. And I know part of it's because of the bobblehead, but even still, even with the spring in there, they should be well balanced if they're sculpted well. As in, if you put them on a shelf, they should stand well, like most of these figures do. Like, they stay put here, but these ones don't at all. Like, I had the hardest time trying to get any of them just to stand up. If they were sculpted well and designed well, they should stand no problem, but these don't. I have such a hard time displaying them. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because they can't stand. So yeah, I just wasn't a fan of that either. So I was overall just a lot of disappointment here, and I was hoping to get this whole series, but I've pretty much given up on it. I mean, if I'm getting fucking 6 cases of it and I'm not even close to completing the series, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And the problem is, I would say go buy them online, but no way, man. Like, I saw the prices on some of these that are 1 of 72 and exclusive. They're going for like $100 online for one, which is a lot for anything, let alone one that just isn't that great in quality. They just didn't do that good of a job. So I really hope that in the future that Disney and Funko can work out a way to not have to do all their Marvel Mystery Minis bobblehead, because they could have so much potential. If they made them like the Warner Brothers ones, where they made like legit figures, or like the Nickelodeon ones, I'd be psyched. So would everyone. Everyone would be so psyched about that if they could find out a way to make them like that. That would be fantastic, and everyone would be so happy. But they didn't. So, like I said in the beginning, if you're a big Deadpool fan, you know, try and pick up a couple of them like I am if you like them. But as far as trying to collect the whole series, my best advice is don't. I would say don't, because it's just damn near impossible. You're going to spend a small fortune and an incredible amount of time to try and even get close, if it's even possible at all. Because most of these stores are only getting 1 case of 12, and it's just, oh man, it's just going to be such a difficult thing to do. Unless you've got a shitload of money and you want to spend it online, but I doubt you want to. So I'd be surprised if anyone collects all these figures. It just seems like too much of an impossible task for something that just isn't that great to begin with. So I hate to shit talk it, but it is what it is. I wish they had done better. I'm still a fan of Deadpool. I'll be happy with the figures I have. Problem is, all these figures, these extra ones I got, I'm probably never going to be able to sell them because there's too many of these super commons. Even the ones that are sealed in the case, I don't think anyone's going to buy them out of fear of getting these super common figures. So maybe I'll do a giveaway or something like that. Maybe I'll do some giveaway of all the extra figures, or if anyone's looking for one, maybe we can work out a trade or something like that. So contact me if you have any ideas for that. So other than that, yeah, 4.5 out of the series. General frustration and pissed offness about this series. Here's another view of the chart again. One more time we'll go over it. Top middle rares, top back commons, bottom middle most likely store exclusives, but we'll see. So again, follow me on social media, please do, to get updates on these series, because I updated on the Warner Brothers and the Nickelodeon ones on those. Also, anyone trying to collect the Nickelodeon Mystery Minis, the Toys R Us exclusives are now online, are on Funko. So if you are looking for that series, go on Funko now. I don't think they're going to sell out because they have tons of them. I was worried about what Toys R Us was going to do with their exclusives since they went out of business, and people were right. They went to the store, Funko shop online, and they're selling the Toys R Us exclusives. So I finally completed that Nickelodeon series, which I'm psyched about, and some of the pint-sized heroes are there, as well as the Star Wars ones. So if you're looking for those series, buy them now. Don't pay a fortune online because people are charging crazy prices on there. Anyway, that's about all I had to say. I want to do monthly reviews, hopefully coming up soon, unless some other deathly disease comes along and murders me, which probably will. So other than that, let me know your thoughts on the series. Let me know if this helped at all. If you have any more information on locations of these figures, please comment in the comments below, and then follow me on social media. Keep up to date with all this stuff. Other than that, thank you all for watching and listening. I'll see you in the next video. Love you all. Peace.